Again, this DLC assumes you complete the main and DLC 1 pretty much. Any spoilers in relation to those is at your own risk. Otherwise, go check out the spoiler-free reviews for the main game and DLC 1, The Foundation, by the links here, or somewhere, below, above, middle, I don't know. They're there. Seek thee and find them. Let's begin. AWE brings new story content and side missions as well as new weapons and mods to the world of Control. The Bureau studied its most dangerous altered world events in this lost sector. The records were sealed, the objects contained, and their powers abandoned. Now, the sector is breached, and the objects are loose. I won't say it. I won't do it, I won't say it. It's an Alan Wake event. Once again, PC via that Steam thing on max settings and RTX fully on, mixed with some DLSS 2 version 2 sprinkled across a 1440p resolution. It's just under 6 hours 22 minutes with 5 DLC achievements unlocked. Let's see how Control DLC 2 AWE integrates classic characters fully into the game's story. So first, before we begin writing this novel, hit your subscribe, follow button thing, then the bell beside it, and also press the like thing if you deem the writing worthy. Ignore a 0 rated game if you still want a working device after the fact. 5 is right in the middle of a 10, and 10 is what every game wants on this channel. Yeah, you have to pay for those. Joke. It's way too expensive. So the good. It's good to get back to the game character favorite. It also connects all the dots of the actors from all of Remedy's most famous IPs fully integrated into a series at once in this world's story, which is also set in the Alan Wake world anyway. Map is a little easier to navigate in this DLC once again, but that's probably because of the scope and the size being a lot smaller, I suppose. It has good similar gameplay to the core game, and really with also added elements of light versus dark, which is a staple of Alan Wake itself. There's a better flow to the DLC campaign compared to DLC 1, in my opinion, for this one. Also an interesting antagonist for Alan Wake that's set in the Alan Wake world, story-wise as well. It also hints at a possibility of an interesting future for the Alan Wake series as a whole, as it now is back in the hands of the rightful owners that is Remedy. The bad. Even more reading DLC 1, unsurprisingly, what with Alan Wake being a riot, I suppose. So if you so choose to read, yeah, you'll be a rival in Skyrim. Again though, relevant, story enriching, and worth the read if you are that way inclined. It's a real challenge to decide whether you do that or not in a streaming sense as well, broadcasting sense, but I'll leave that for you to worry about. There's less new toys than DLC 1 in this case, I'd say as well, but it seems to be more imaginative overall in terms of visuals and takes that's going on in the game itself and the environments and such in some ways. Again, it's not hugely different from the core game though, despite, you know, being more so than DLC 1 in a way. There's an optional mini game thing. Unfortunately for me, I think it's a little bit overly long, very spongy, and just disappointing. It has this aesthetic that promises something much more. When you go into it, as you'll see, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but when you go into it, essentially, it's literally ends up being a glorified kind of like what's the word? Those modes where you just got to last as long as you can, horde mode type thing. Yeah, not great. There's also somewhat frustrating, spongy final boss fight. It's not so much spongy, but I don't want to spoil it per se. But there's a method to it, and if you don't get the method, you'll be there forever. So keep that in mind. I don't know if that should be in bad really, but it's in there. So there you go. As for the ugly, there's more busy work in this one, and it's less imaginative. The DLC 1 side quests, at least from memory, going from, I'm pretty sure the side quests. There's some cool side quests in DLC 1. This one's side quest is literally busy work. I don't think it's a spoiler to say what one of the side quests are, because it was already in the main game. But literally, there's a thing again where you're looking up the plants again, literally, as an example, and cleaning mold again. Yeah, that definitely drops it down for me. Very, very busy, worky. Worst aspect of the main game thrown into the DLC again. Doesn't fit in the narrative punch that Remedy executes. It doesn't fit in their games, but it's in there, so it's pretty ugly. Unless you like that sort of thing. So now for the score. I think with this one, it's similarly flawed and similarly, or adversely strong and similarly flawed compared to DLC 1, which kind of made me felt like it was the same feeling overall. So I'm giving this one also a 6.5 out of 10. Again, 5 is average, remember, so it's slightly above average. It's, it's good. It could have been maybe a 7, but side quests burnt me down and burnt me out, and I've got this kind of thing where I need to kind of stop doing some of the busy works sometimes and passive aggressively chasing achievements, even though I'm not really an achievement hunter per se, but it will drop your enjoyment of the thing. So again, a good DLC overall, but has less interest in side quests and new elements versus DLC 1's new elements, but less imaginative main quest line. Definitely a must for Alan Wake fans like myself, however, who want to learn more about the fabled characters of that series and the aftermath of that series itself. It's important material. On screen now you can check out more content like our Alan Wake blind full playthrough if you're not familiar with Alan Wake. It's a great excuse. As well as our other control content like our delectable blind playthrough of that, which will be this. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So click a tap now, check those out, sub, bell, like if you feel that urge. It helps, and I appreciate your time, support, and objects of power. Yeah, we take objects of power as currency now.